I read somewhere that there is no more beautiful noise than the sound of a child's laughter, unless, of course, you're at home by yourself at night.
Alright, so now that I'm going to have nightmares... Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 3 of the Schorr Manor podcast. Matt and Amanda Schorr here.
How you doing?
Well, now they're all going to have nightmares after that. But so for episode 3, we decided to start on our decorations. And so for this episode, we will be focusing on our outside decorations. And I thought we would go basically year by year since we've lived in our house. If you go to facebook.com/SchorrManor and you go to our photos, our albums, there is an album called The Progression of Schorr Manor that you can look at while you listen so that everything kind of makes sense. And so we were actually married in 2012 and we moved to Clarksville from our hometown. And so our very first Halloween that we were married, that we spent together, we lived in an apartment.
Yes, indeed. A very tiny, tiny apartment.
Absolutely tiny. We were only able to decorate like one window. We were super proud of that window that we decorated.
Oh boy, we put our heart and soul into that window.
But we actually ended up going back to our hometown and doing a trunk or treat there because at that point I wasn't yet working for the school system. And so I was actually off the day after Halloween. We were able to go home and do that. So we're going to start with the year 2013, which was our first year in our house.
That's when we really started diving into this in earnest.
Yes, we were excited because we could put up however much we wanted and no one could tell us otherwise except for the bank because being a young married couple, we still don't have money, but we really didn't then.
Yeah, the bank is constantly cracking down on our Halloween efforts.
Yes. So most of the decorations that we had came from the Dollar Tree. I think the only thing that didn't was like a set of pumpkin lights that we bought at Walmart. So I'll start with the spider fencing. And like I said, it came from the Dollar Tree. And I have this small flower bed outside of our house that has never had any flowers in it because when we bought our house, the front porch was actually sloping towards the house. And so the water was coming in and we had to have them fix it. And I guess the previous owners hired the cheapest people they could find because we showed up to move into our house and there's concrete all in this flower bed and a huge pile just dumped into our rock driveway. We have 2 driveways, one is cement, one is rock, and except for this huge part that is just concrete.
If I had a little more know-how, I could have gathered up some of that concrete and maybe converted that into headstones, but
yeah, I don't know.
Not very knowledgeable about that stuff.
Yeah. So this little flower bed's probably, 4 foot across maybe.
Yeah,
I mean,
not
it's
very
small. And we have bushes going down the side of our house past this part. And actually, one of the first things that I thought, and I think I actually said to Matt when we were looking at this house, we were like, there's no flowers there. And I said, don't worry about it. That's where we would put our gravestones on Halloween. Like, before we even entered this house, I'm already like, all right, that's where my gravestones are going on Halloween.
And there's been at least one there ever since, I think.
Yeah. So we went to the Dollar Tree, found this plastic spider web fencing that, had these little stakes that you just put into the ground. And so we bought 3 of them. They fit perfect inside this little flower bed that we have. We actually bought some of those foam headstones from the Dollar Tree, and they held up pretty well.
They did good for a year.
For that first year.
You get what you pay for $1. They did all you could ask.
So we get the house decorated, and I decide I love the spider web fencing. And I want to do it down our whole front walkway, which is probably, 20, 30 foot long.
I think so.
It's it's a pretty long walkway because even though this was our first married Halloween, I am thinking into the future and how I want our yard set up, and I don't want anybody walking through the yard. I want them coming down the driveway and across the walkway.
We still have not convinced people to do that.
They're getting better.
There's a little bit by bit.
So I decide, let's go back and let's get this spider web fencing and let's put this all across this front walkway, which we did. And truth be told, to be something from the Dollar Tree, it held up much better than we were expecting. The problem was, at this point, we didn't have any floodlights or anything to light up, not floodlights, spotlights to light up the house, because it was our first year.
Yeah.
And you couldn't really see it. So, of course, people were coming up the yard. I had several toddlers tripping over it. I was constantly having to go and set it all back up because at this point, Matt was working for the newspaper, and he actually was not home.
Yeah, still
on Halloween night.
But I was there for, I did get a lunch break where I came home for about an hour.
Yeah, he came home for an hour.
And during that time, I remember seeing several people trip over that.
So, and I'm going, oh my gosh, somebody's going to like bust their head open on our concrete and we're going to get sued. I think I actually still have this because I'm a hoarder and I don't get rid of anything.
You do. They are still out in our building as we speak.
Yeah, because I'm just convinced someday I'll use them again. So, fast forward to the summer of 2014. Our house has a beautiful front porch on it, but it didn't have a front porch railing. So, along with like our Halloween to-do list every year of decorations, we pick like one major project to do. Well, I pick one major project to do in the house, and Matt just begrudgingly goes along with it. So,
It's not that bad.
Yes, it is. I'll secretly record him and put it up for you guys to see somewhere. So, fast forward to the summer of 2014, we put up a porch railing. And we had some leftover, what do you call the...
Leftover just railing stakes.
Yeah, like the pieces that go in between. Mm-hmm. And so we're decorating, and our best friend Drew, who I'm sure will be on one of these podcasts with us eventually, he always comes over. He's just as into Halloween as we are, so he comes over and he helps us set up every year. So I make them pull out this horrible spiderweb plastic fencing. We get the whole thing set up. I'm like, I don't like it. Take it down. And they're like, you've got to be kidding me. Because these little pieces, they have little parts that they click into. And they keep coming undone. And they keep fixing them. And I'm like, I don't like this. So I told Matt, because I had actually something that I do quite often here. Especially during the summer, because I'm a teacher and I'm home a lot during the summer, is I get on YouTube and I look at other people's yards to get ideas. And I had seen this one of like these fence posts that have skulls on top of them with chain link connecting them. And so I pulled up the video and I said, Matt, I think we can do this out of that leftover railing we have in the building. So we go to Lowe's, we buy black spray paint, we spray paint these things, we go to the Dollar Tree, we get these skulls, we take a box cutter and we cut into the base of the skull, and we stick them on, and then we had these little leftover curtain hooks, that you screw into the wall to hold curtains, and Matt put that on the back of every one of those. I think we started, let's see, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6. We had 6 of them. No, 5. 5 of them.
Yes.
And I'm a speech teacher, not a math teacher. So we had 5 of these leftovers that we could use, and we went and got this fake chain link from Walmart, and we bought enough to string across the whole front walkway, and it looks so much better, and it's really, to this day, one of my favorite decorations that we have, because it really was a do-it-yourself, a DIY, that, I'd seen a prototype of it in someone's yard, but really, I came up with it, as far as for us, how to do it. Now, I think these people, actually had real, fence posts that they used and stuff. But it was just, we still put it up. We put it up every year because it's just one of my favorites that we've done.
I think it's one of mine too.
And it really looks cool.
Yeah, it's a good one. I think it gets comments from people every time.
They really do like it.
People notice it. One of the ones that they notice the most and say something to us about.
Yeah, and it's been the best so far at keeping people coming up the front walkway.
This is true. Now that and we have spotlights on this one, so they
yes,
can
we did
see
get
it.
spotlights this next year, so they can actually see it. And also adding to this, we still use those headstones from the Dollar Tree, those little ones. I think we did end up putting like a nail or something in the bottom of them to stick them in the ground because the little little metal pieces they came with, I think, had broken off. Mm-hmm. But the other major decoration for this year was we bought candy corn string lights that we strung across our actual front porch railing.
That's right.
So, and if you go facebook.com/Schorr Manor, go to the Progression of Schorr Manor album, like I said before, you'll see these pictures. That's actually what I'm using right now, so I don't forget anything. And there's a close-up of what we were just talking about. We call it our skull railing.
We're really proud of this one.
Yeah, there's a close-up of it on there that you can see.
I think I'm also proud of how cheap it was, all things considered.
Yeah, I mean, we spent...
We used leftover stuff and then just
most of it was...
It's like $1 skulls and I think the chain from Walmart.
The chain was like $3 or $4 per 6-foot section. So I think we ended up spending about $30 on it because the chain, we just kept buying more chain.
Was it even that high? 30? It would have just been for the chain then.
Yeah, but it was sold in smaller sections. Okay. And then my mom, we're yard sale people. I say we. I'm a yard sale person. I love going to thrift stores. Matt is more into it now than when we first got married because we're always looking for Halloween stuff. We've got some awesome stuff from this weekend that I can't wait to get out.
Me neither.
My mom actually got us some more of this chain link stuff. That's a much cheaper option. Go to yard sales. Go to thrift stores. Look there.
You find some of the best stuff there. And the thing is, nice thing about Halloween is if what you get is kind of broken down, that really just makes it look that much more in season.
Yeah, a lot of stuff, you'll find these plastic pumpkins, the light bulbs are burnt out or something, and all you gotta do is change that. It's so much cheaper than buying them brand new. Mm-hmm. We are not really into inflatable Halloween decorations.
No, we're not, for various reasons. Do we want to get into that?
Not right now.
Yeah, we'll leave that aside.
We did a Mickey for about 5 years for Christmas. I'm okay with them for Christmas, but Halloween... I like decorations that look more realistic.
Yeah.
So before we move on to 2015, 2014 was also the year that Matt started carving funkins. Yes. And he decided he would carve one for each year that we'd been in our house. Mm-hmm. So, do you want to tell him about your 2013 funkin?
Actually, I've done it for every year that we've been in Clarksville. Because when I first started, I carved 2 for the first 2 years to sort of make up since I started late. I would go online searching out different patterns that I could use and trying to just highlight stuff that I'm really into. I don't know if anybody else out there has, you might be familiar with a little film called The Avengers. If you are, then you might...
people have seen it.
Yeah, if you are, then you might recognize one of my pumpkins. It's one of their more prominent members, Tony Stark himself, Iron Man. And then for the following year, I'm also a big fan of Doctor Who. In particular, my favorite Doctor was the 10th Doctor, David Tennant. So my little tribute to him in pumpkin form is a carving of David Tennant as the Doctor.
All right, so moving on to 2015, I really wanted to expand our graveyard, and I'm a big Pinterest person. I think pretty much every girl in the world is. I know a lot of guys use it too, but Matt doesn't. And so I had been just, as we call it, Pinteresting different Halloween ideas, and I found this Jack Skellington. I'm a huge fan of The Nightmare Before Christmas. I absolutely love Jack Skellington. He's one of my favorite Disney characters ever. And I found this Jack Skellington that somebody had done, and it was just a picture of it in their yard. And I told Matt, I was like, I want a life-size Jack Skellington. And he's like, holy crap, Amanda, how are we going to make this? I'm like, I don't know, that's your, I said, out of wood. And he's
like it's hard.
Yeah. So it ended up being this huge production. My mom also works in the school system back from where I'm from. And she was able to borrow one of those super old projectors, like, you know, that you put the
Transparency.
Yeah, transparency on. She was able to borrow one of those that the school just had and they weren't using it anymore. And she was like, can I just borrow that for like an afternoon? And they were like, sure.
Incidentally, this makes me feel really old because when I was in school, teachers used those all the time.
Well, now it hooks up to your computer. It's a document reader is what they're called now. I use it at work a lot. So I decided I wanted to expand our graveyard and I wanted this Jack Skellington done. At the time, we had just found out that I was pregnant with our first child. I'm not sure if it's safe or not to paint while you're pregnant. I've heard that it's okay if you're, like, outside and it's well ventilated. But my mom is still very, like, old school and was like, no, you can't paint, can't do anything. So they get this projector and you guys drew him on, like, was it a sheet? Yes. Or like a piece of paper, like a long thing of paper?
No, I think we drew him straight onto the board.
Did you draw him onto the board? I can't remember.
Somehow carted that board into your parents' old house.
Their dining room.
Leaned it up on the wall and, yeah, we started drawing that out. Yeah. Your mom did that part.
And so then Matt and my father used a jigsaw and cut him out. And then Matt painted him. He's awesome. Well, like all of our decorations are probably like my favorites, but he definitely is one of my favorites.
Yeah, he's a good one.
Because, I mean, he's Jack. And so we decided to do that, and then we had some leftover wood from, I don't remember.
It's from a shelving project we did in our old pantry.
Oh, yes. This was the year that we redid the pantry. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, we found some more wood just like a couple of weeks ago. We got a new couch and found some more wood that we had holding up the other couch that we're going to turn into some more gravestones. And so we were I love old graveyards, like what you see in the movies where they would just do like crosses. So we ended up doing 9 crosses, I think.
I think that's right. Mm-hmm.
And we painted them brown. And then we were able to do 3 actual, like, concrete-looking gravestones, which there's like this certain kind of spray paint you can buy. Yeah,
it's like I think it was called granite because it was it's gray and it was also had texture so that it looked like stone. But it was pretty effectively they looked like big giant headstones.
They really do, and we painted, of course, RIP on them.
Around the edges, I should point out, I also took some black spray paint just to sort of give a little extra texture.
Detail.
Yeah, because that way it's not just one solid color. It looks a little bit better when you make the edges kind of black and almost like it's been scored and weathered.
And so these replaced our little foam gravestones that we bought from the Dollar Tree. So these are now in my front flower bed. By the way, none of the spider fencing has been put up since the first year.
Yeah, the skull posts kind of replaced that.
Yeah, and I was at first going to go ahead and just put those original 3 back up, but I couldn't find them. Because we had left, I think we did, sets of 2 and just left them connected and put them in a box, and I was, trying to break them apart, and they are, molded together now after being in that shed forever.
They break pretty easy.
So, it has not made its way back out. Also, Matt writes a local humor column for our newspaper, and we got some hate over these crosses. I want to clarify, being a Southern Baptist, these are not meant in any way against God or religion at all. I would think everybody that knows me knows that would be the last thing I would ever do. Because while I'm super into Halloween, I am also a Christian. And so, for me, this was just a way to make this cemetery look super, super old. I mean, you would have to go to another country to find even grave markers like this. We don't even have those in America.
Yeah, for me, and I mean, when we made this, and this religion, Christianity, one way or another, it really didn't enter into this the same way a standard headstone didn't enter into it. It was just another decoration. It wasn't meant to be anything outlandish at all. It had a really cool boot hill look like out of old Western films. But yeah, when I wrote about it and they actually put some pictures of it in the newspaper, somebody who just really, really didn't like it, and I suspect
Super
personally,
religious person.
well, I suspect personally it was also that they just didn't like Halloween in general.
Probably.
Decided to email me and let me know. So I wrote her back saying, thanks very much. I appreciate you taking time to read it.
Yeah.
I didn't get a response
Probably
to that,
did not help anything. And so also this year, like I said, we're super cheap. So we go like November 1st and, get all the Halloween stuff on clearance. And we were able to get more lights. We had been experimenting with like the spider webbing stuff. The first year put it on one of the windows, and then the second year put it on our bushes. And then this year we decided we just weren't going to even deal with the webbing. And instead, we put up lights on our bushes. So we have like pumpkins, jack-o'-lanterns, spiders, bats. And I want to think ghosts.
Yes,
ghosts out there. We did have ghosts that year. Okay.
Well,
I don't remember
what year we actually got them, but we
I was
have
thinking
ghosts now.
I know we have them now. I was thinking we didn't get them until like a couple of years ago. Like we got them at a yard sale or something.
The first year might be right. Everything but the ghosts.
And we also found these cool little like eyes, and they flicker. Yes. And so we have 2 giant bushes. We have like 4 or 5 smaller bushes, and we have 2 really big ones. One is on the other side of our doorway, and so we put them in there. And then later on, we actually were able to add them into the giant bush.
Yes.
Like you see as you first, it's right in the front of our yard.
We need to do more with that. I need to make something jump out of that bush sometime.
All right, and so I'll let Matt talk about his funkin. By the way, we forgot to tell you this. If you don't know what a funkin is, it is a permanent pumpkin. We get ours usually from Hobby Lobby. Yes. Do not ever pay full price.
Yes, Hobby Lobby, if you go there, they start toward the end of August and early September. You can get them for almost half off. I think
40 or 50%.
Yeah, it's a pretty phenomenal discount. I mean, and you just can't beat it. Even Amazon can't beat this deal.
Yeah,
so
because they're like $40.
Yes,
so we get them like.
Yeah, I am not being at all paid by Amazon, not being paid by Hobby Lobby to tell you this, but if you're going to get these pumpkins, I have yet to find a better deal out there than
Hobby
Lobby.
I think they might also sell them at Michael's, but I'm not sure.
Sure. Probably not for the same discount, though. So this particular year, I'd been doing pumpkins based on my own interests for so long, I thought I should do ones about other people in the house. So this was also sort of a Halloween gift, you might say, for Amanda, who is a huge, huge fan of dinosaurs and, of course, Jurassic Park.
Love it!
So I started looking up different designs. I found some really great-looking stencils out there for, like, T-Rexes, but none of them they didn't really grab me, didn't work for me. And finally, I just stopped and I thought, the Jurassic Park logo itself would work pretty well. So I started looking at it, and this is the first year that I actually didn't really use a stencil designed specifically for pumpkins. I took an actual image and just sort of, for lack of a better word, transitioned it or transcribed it, whatever, onto a pumpkin. And so, that year is when I made this full-on Jurassic Park pumpkin. It's got the Jurassic Park title and, of course, the silhouette of the T-Rex skeleton over top of it in this big, huge circle. It's a design that I am still really, really proud of. I think it looks really good, even today as I look at it.
Yeah.
Another one, this might have been the point where I caught up and I was able to just start doing one every year. Getting back, of course, to my own interests, I am a huge fan of Star Trek. If anybody tells you that Star Wars is better, they're entitled to their opinion. They're just wrong. But I say this as somebody that loves Star Wars as well.
Yeah.
But I wanted Star Trek, and I wanted it to be a representation of the original. So I found a fantastic... Oh, and I think I also carved this the same year Leonard Nimoy passed away. So this was also sort of a tribute to him. So I have a pumpkin with Leonard Nimoy as Spock giving the live long and prosper salute.
It's also a throwback to our first Halloween together back in 2009 because at that point we were living in Mayfield, Kentucky, and we were doing trick or treat with my church because Matt's church didn't do it. And we dressed up as the 1960s Spock and Uhura because we couldn't find a Kirk costume. And
Actually,
that
I think I was Kirk. Didn't I have the yellow shirt?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so I was Kirk.
Okay, so
Kirk and
that.
Uhura.
Yes, we couldn't find Spock. That's what it was. He wanted to be Spock, but we couldn't find him one in that size. And we actually do still have these outfits.
We do. They're still here.
We'll get back to that here in a minute.
Yeah.
But for this first Halloween that we were together, Matt carved 3 actual pumpkins. One was Spock, one was the Superman logo, and then one was a cross. And we lit them, we had them in front of our car as we did trunk or treat. And so we decided it was way too much work to put into carving something that was going to die 24 hours later.
Yeah.
So instead, we now do the Funkins, and Matt actually drilled a hole in them, and he puts a light in there, a Christmas light in there to light them up on Halloween. We don't use candles.
Well, you're not supposed to use candle.
Right.
Any
You're not
open
supposed
flame around
to.
these anyway.
Yes, they are flammable, so do not use a real candle. Use a tea light, but the tea lights weren't strong enough, and so that's why we did what we did.
Yep.
All right, so let's move on to 2016. Oh, and the 2015 year, I forgot. Every year on Halloween, there are certain decorations that I only put out for Halloween night. I love the teeny tiny little jack-o'-lanterns that you can get that are like to put candy in and to give to people, but they're like $7 for I think 6 of them. They're super expensive. But I got some from Kroger, like on sale, and then we found some at a yard sale, and we found some
getting back to the thrift stores.
in thrift stores. I think the last time that I counted, I have 32 of them, but I use them on Halloween night. I line my driveway so people know, oh, we walk up this way, and then we turn and go down the walkway. If you look on Facebook, you'll see pictures. I found this cute idea on Pinterest where you take mason jars and you wrap them in gauze, and then you glue little eyes on them to make them mummies. You get glow sticks and you put in there to make them light up. My glow sticks didn't work super well, so I think I'm going to do some tea lights. They need to be redone. But those are also one of my favorites that I've put out, are my little mummy jars. Okay, so we're going to move on to 2016. And 2016 was another year that my family just absolutely loved me when I told them what I wanted to do. This was the year that our son was born. And so, adding a new baby into the house, we have less space. And I said, you know what? I want a life-size mausoleum.
Yep.
And they said no. So I said, fine. I want a life-size tomb. And at this point, Matt is realizing he's not going to win this argument. And he says, how big? I said, I want it 6 foot long. I want it 4 foot high. The top of it's going to be a lid. And we will use it to store all of our Halloween decorations inside. And so I think that was the selling point, was me saying we're going to use it to store all of our Halloween decorations inside.
That is what won me over.
We built it out of plywood. My father-in-law came down.
Yep.
We have the best parents in the world. My parents and his parents, they absolutely love us. And of course, this is after me being, the crazy pregnant lady and saying, I want a bay window seat. So they had already basically built one for our bay window that has storage in it. And so then I'm like, here's what I want. So here we go. We get the plywood, we build it. I was excited because I was actually able to help build this one. I'm not allowed to touch power tools or anything sharp. So I was not able to help with Jack. Of course, I was also pregnant. And so my in-laws came down one afternoon, and I was actually the only one small enough to fit on the inside to nail the outer piece of plywood to the frame. So there's some cool pictures that I'm very proud of me sitting inside this thing, nailing the wood together. We also, and I don't know if I mentioned this or not, but we decided it was going to be Dracula's tomb. And so we have painted Dracula on it, and we have his birth year, and then a whole bunch of death dates that we have X'd out.
Yeah.
And then the last one is 2000 question mark question mark. And I should also note here, I don't remember where I got this idea, but I think it was either somebody somebody's yard on YouTube, or it was on Pinterest.
I think we actually looked up funny headstones for
Maybe,
ideas.
It could have been that. So if that was your idea, thank you so much. I loved it. I hope you're okay that I stole it. And so again, for this one, we just used gray paint because it's going to be way too expensive to buy the spray paint. Yeah. So we did get black spray paint and kind of detail the edges on it. Mm-hmm. And we also put it on wheels so that we can roll it from the back of our house to the front.
Yeah. But this thing is a beast. It is the biggest, most monstrous thing that we have put in our yard.
It is. People were like, holy crap, what are y'all doing? Of course, our neighbors, I think at this point, like, that's just their reaction. They're like, they see us outside. I'm like crunk about my decorations being up by October 1st because I only get 31 days to celebrate my holiday like it's supposed to be celebrated. So my yard is decorated by October the 1st.
That's right.
Unless, because like I said, Drew comes over and helps us. So if October the 1st is going to be on a Sunday, then I wait. But if it's going to be on a Saturday, like, we're decorating the week before. So, our neighbors have already seen this get put together, and they're just like, oh my gosh. And also for this year, we expanded Jack a little bit. We did our own pumpkin patch, and I got this idea from, I think, several different videos I have seen on YouTube. And what I did was I went to the local hardware store here in Clarksville, and I got these hay bales because the guy sells them for $4. They are literally 4 to 5 times the size, like height and width, of what you're going to find at Walmart or Hobby Lobby or anything like that. Do not buy them from Walmart or Hobby Lobby or Michael's. Find yourself a farmer.
That's right.
Or a hardware store.
A local hardware store.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you they will get you some hay bales for so much less.
These actually came from Hardware City, so shout out to Hardware City.
Yeah, if you're local to Clarksville, go to Hardware City. Love that place. Love that guy. He's awesome. We did 3, and we actually I love the original orange jack-o'-lanterns that they sell at Walmart every year. They're $1 for candy. I absolutely love those. My parents would never get me one when I was growing up because at school they always handed out bags for free. So, like, that's where I get my cheapness from. Or maybe I just never told them I wanted a pumpkin. Jack-o'-lantern. I'm trying to get out of that habit of calling a jack-o'-lantern pumpkin. But anyways, I don't pay full price for them at Walmart. We go to our local Goodwill. If you live in the state of Tennessee, the first Saturday of every month is half off of the entire store at Goodwill. So we will go like that first Saturday in October. And I mean, they always have tons of them there. Or a lot of times you can get them at yard sales. I got one just the other day at a yard sale for like 25 cents. I buy them because at this point we had not planted pumpkins.
True.
Not this year. We decided in 2017 to plant pumpkins, which did not end up going well. And so I just get these plastic ones. I have some that light up. Most of them are just those little, like, ones that you carry around and put candy in. And so we have Jack there with what we call all his loyal subjects, which are, of course, the pumpkins. So those were our 2 big things for 2016.
I think that was also the year that I first started projecting stuff on our window.
Yes.
I experimented that first year, and I projected just this single gigantic eyeball that just all it did was just look around the yard. Since then, I've been able to find a bunch of different things that I can project up there. Like I've had different ghosts, I've had a witch, We've had skeletons. We've even had zombies.
The eyeball is always the favorite, though. All the kids love it.
To this day, people still ask, like, where's the eyeball? Where's the eyeball?
Our neighbors, we had several neighbors come and say, because we did this for like the whole month, and the kids are like, we have to go there on Halloween. We have to see the eye. And several of our neighbors were like, yeah, we just live over there, but our kids wanted to see the eyeball. I think this was also the first... No, it was the second year that we incorporated fog machines, wasn't it?
I believe you're right. Yep.
Well, a fog machine.
Yeah, we had one fog machine the first year, then the second year I got another one that I could then actually start making chilled fog that would stay low to the ground.
And so this year was our son's first Halloween, and we did the Star Trek theme as a family costume again.
Dusted off the old costumes.
We did, and we found him an actual Spock onesie that he wore.
Sure did. The littlest Star Trekker.
And so for one of the Funkins that we did for that year, we actually traced our son's handprints. And Matt carved out his hands and then put Cal's first Halloween. Our son's name is Callum. We call him Cal. And the date. And then...
Well, that year's pumpkin, I'm also a pretty big fan of the Ninja Turtles. Grew up watching that cartoon and then started reading the comics. So this particular year, I went ahead and carved a... really cool Ninja Turtle face in a pumpkin, and instead of the usual yellow or orange lights that I put in all the other pumpkins, I found a nice green one to put in that one.
And it looks really cool.
Yeah.
So that brings us to last year, which was 2017. And so for 2017, I had this plan from like the get-go. You see those people who actually put up their own Halloween fence. And so I said, I want a fence this year. As usual, the reaction is, how are you going to make this? And how big do you want it to be? And I said, well, I want it to be life-size, like everything else. I want it to be at least 4 foot off the ground, and I want it to go all the way across our front yard. So here we go with the tape measure. Our front yard is... between the two driveways, it's around 40 foot. So we're not talking any small thing here.
Yeah.
So we built this fence in 6-foot sections. Mm-hmm. So it might be, I don't know, 42 feet, I guess.
Actually, the sections are 4 feet. Because
we ended 4 feet? Okay.
Yeah, we had to make...
We were going to do 6 foot.
We ended up doing 11 4-foot sections because even though the yard's roughly...
So it's 44 feet across.
Yeah, because the yard itself is roughly 40 feet, but when you take into account just some of that, there's a little bit of extra footage in there when it comes to our two driveways.
Yes. So, if we didn't have the wrong driveway, the yard would be another probably 10 feet.
10 to 12 at least.
So I'm like, all right, I want to make this fence. And of course, Matt's like, what are you going to make this out of? This is going to be expensive. We're going to have to go buy this. I said, no, we're going to make it out of PVC pipe. And he looks at me like I have 3 heads. And I'm like, no, like, get online and look it up. Like, I researched all of these props and how to make them before I do this. So we started in February.
That's true. We got the jump on this one because I knew it would be expensive.
We were going to buy the sections like 1 or 2 each month and put them together. And
spread out the cost.
We started in February. And because for some reason we had just this really, really nice day in February. And where we live, if you're not familiar with Tennessee, some weeks you have all 4 seasons in one day. Yeah. But typically February is very cold. You don't really start getting any warm or nice weather until like the end of March. And so we had this really nice day. Go to Lowe's and we're like asking the guy to cut the PVC pipe. And they don't do that at Lowe's, I guess, for safety reasons. Because, most people, if they're buying PVC pipe, it's for actual piping. And the guy's like, I can try, I'm not supposed to do this. And we're like, look, it's for a Halloween fence, so it doesn't have to be perfect. And he goes, what did you say? He goes, what month is this? And we're like, it's February. Yes, we're crazy. So we ended up getting one section cut there. And then my father-in-law actually had retired because the first year of our son's life, of course, he had to go to daycare, and he was sick every 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
I was taking off work. My husband was taking off work. My father-in-law has worked from home for the last 15 years of his career. And so he ended up actually retiring because he was afraid that Cal was going to be sick all the time again. And Cal ended up only getting sick twice. But my father-in-law actually ended up putting together 10 sections of this fence for us and then bringing it down to us, and we painted the whole thing black. And then we actually were going to make the tops for the fence, like the fleur-de-lis, and make it out of foam. So I bought this foam, I cut out a pattern, I traced all this, I actually bought a hot knife to use, because they're the best. What I had found was the best for cutting foam. And we cut it all out. And I was using just regular black paint to paint them because we're getting down to crunch time here. I mean,
Yeah.
this was this was happening, I think, even in October. The fence was up, but the tops weren't put on.
Yeah.
Matt's aunt actually suggested, well, why don't you just spray paint it? Well, we didn't know spray paint eats foam. So, Spoiler alert, if you don't know this, don't do this because it literally eats the foam away. And so we ended up, I spent hours doing this. And they looked really good, and they would have actually worked and even held up had we not spray painted them. So we ended up having to just order all these tops off of Amazon or something.
Found a fairly discounted price on some ones that worked pretty well.
And there weren't enough to go for the whole fence. So what we did was we went back to the Dollar Tree and bought some more skulls.
Good old Dollar Tree.
And cut those out and put them on, at least one part on the fence. One railing for each section of the fence. So that cut down on the cost.
But yeah, once it was up, it looked pretty good.
It did. And then the other thing that we added, we lost some of the crosses due to just weather and also the way that we had to put them in the ground with the crowbar. They break. So we lost some of the crosses, but Matt actually got me 2 of these really nice, big, expensive...
On discount.
They were on discount, but those really...
These are made out of metal.
Heavy-duty, yes. Heavy-duty gravestones.
Made to deal with some weather. And then actually on Halloween night, it wasn't evening, I went out during the day, and stuff was already starting to get marked down, and I was able to find a third headstone that we added out there as well.
Oh, nice.
And the cool thing about these was they also had some LED lights, so that the skulls on top of the headstones would actually glow.
Up. Yes,
so that was
really cool. Which brings us to this year, which we don't have up yet, but stay tuned. Keep an eye out on Schorr Manor, and you will see this year for my birthday. There's already pictures of this up, so you can see that. Mm-hmm. Matt actually got me a skeleton horse.
Yes.
My absolute dream is to one day have my own horse-drawn hearse. I want to make it. So Matt got me the horse for this year, and we also are adding a giant 6-foot spider made out of PVC pipe.
Her father, one time earlier, it was I think it was last year actually, he said that he had a bunch of leftover PVC piping that he didn't need. He asked if I might have any use for it. I said, well, I think I could probably find something. And I was able to look up a really great way to make a spider out of PVC piping online on a website called Instructables.com. I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with that. Haven't built it yet, but I have all the parts needed.
We have all the pieces.
Yep.
We're just...
So we'll be getting started on that very, very soon. So yeah, two real big additions this year for our yard are going to be that giant spider and then
Daredevil.
Daredevil the horse.
So and Spider's name, of course, is Aragog for you Harry Potter lovers out there.
Yep.
But I would like to mention the spider was also my idea even before my dad
That's true.
said this about the piping. I told Matt I would really like a giant spider.
I can't take full credit for the spider.
So, anyways, hope you guys have enjoyed listening to this post. Our next post will also be decorations, but it will be inside. It won't be quite as long as this one. It's probably going to be less than half of the time because we're mainly focused on the outside. Our house is small, so we don't really throw a huge party. Mainly just our friend Drew and his mom and dad come down. But we'll be talking about that in our next post.
Yep.
So,
That'll be next time around. In the meantime, I guess we'll close out the way that we always do.
Happy
Haunting.
haunting.